America armed it. China built roads through it, Saudi praised it, India watched it from a distance. But today, most of them have one thing in common: they walk away. Why has Pakistan been used by every major power in the world, from war zones to loan zones, from mosque diplomacy to missile deals? This isn't just politics, it's a pattern. 1947. The birth of a nation, but also the birth of a wound. Millions displaced, trains left Amritsar, filled with fear and hope. But peace never came. Broken subcontinent, 1965. A stalemate, 1971. 90,000 soldiers surrendered as Bangladesh was born. Then came Kargil, a war fought in silence over frozen heights. A war that still echoes in every border patrol. But India wasn't the only storyline. Pakistan became a Cold War tool. The US used it to push the Soviets out of Afghanistan, and Pakistan trained militants, opened its borders, got billions in return. Then one day, the Soviets left, and so did America's attention. Classic case of, thanks for your service, now, bye.
Pakistan's economy was always limping.
But now, it's on life support. It borrows to survive, and survives to borrow again. The IMF. It's not a lender anymore, it's a landlord. Empty foreign reserves, power outages, inflation eating salaries alive. And yet, the budget always has space for tanks and missiles, because in Pakistan, debt is negotiable. Defense, never. And that's not just policy, that's survival, with an army in charge. The known to ammo loop. Pakistan borrows billions from China, the Gulf, the IMF, and then it buys weapons from the same countries it owes. China gives a loan, then sells drones, destroyers, and jets. The US lends billions, then ships F-16s and optics. It's like borrowing 10,000 rupees from your friend, then using it to buy his old PlayStation. Money in, weapons out. Debt stays. Some call it strategic dependency. But let's be honest, it's just bad economics. And the people? They're left with no jobs, no schools, no hospitals, just missiles and interest payments. This isn't just a power struggle, it's a battle for the soul of a state, where belief shapes identity, but control decides the narrative. Islam was never the problem. It offered guidance, mercy, and unity. The Quran doesn't teach division. It speaks of justice and compassion. But politics turned faith into theater. And over time, power learned to hide behind it. In Pakistan, power doesn't just wear a uniform. Sometimes it wears a prayer cap. The dangerous balance. Faith in one fist, force in the other, And no one dares ask which one leads. Because when pulpits and parades start to echo each other, truth gets blurred. Mosques echo more than prayers, they echo politics. Religious sermons become speeches, crowds turn into constituents, and beliefs becomes influence. Some use the pulpit to guide, others to govern. Militant groups were once allies, then assets, then accidents. They were trained for one war, but stayed for many. Some say they slipped out of control. Others say they were never meant to be in control. In the shadows of every ceasefire, there's a strategy that never sleeps. For many, religion is peace. But in power, it becomes a strategy. And caught in that strategy are the ordinary, the poor, the hopeful, the young, told what to think and taught who to fear. Because when faith becomes a weapon, the people carrying prayers are the ones who bleed first. Muslim solidarity, loud for some, silent for others. Pakistan calls itself the fortress of Islam. A nation built on faith, a voice for the voiceless, a defender of the Muslim world. And when it comes to Palestine, that voice is loud, very loud. UN speeches, protests, flags waving in the streets, free Palestine echoing from every corner. But when it comes to the Uyghur Muslims in China, silence. Not a word, not a tweet, not even a whisper. Why? Because China is Pakistan's biggest lender, its economic lifeline, its defense partner, and you don't bite the hand that funds your missile. But what's happening to the Uyghurs? China sees Islam as a threat to loyalty. They fear that Uyghur identity could lead to separatism, so they banned beards, hijabs, even fasting. Then came the camps, re-education centers, forced labor, and mass surveillance, all in the name of stability. What about the Kurds? Bombed by Turkey, displaced, stateless, still silence. Because Turkey is a brother in arms, a fellow military ally. Why is Turkey attacking the Kurds? Because the Kurds want autonomy, a homeland, and Turkey fears that could fracture its borders, so it labels them terrorists even when they're fighting ISIS. And the Rohingya, hunted in Myanmar, burned out of their homes, thousands dead. Pakistan condemned it once, then moved on. Why? Because Myanmar never accepted the Rohingya as citizens. They were seen as outsiders, Muslim intruders. And when a few picked up arms, the military picked up fire and called it counterinsurgency. But here's the twist. Even inside Pakistan, there's a silence. Balochistan, a region rich in resources, but poor in rights, where people disappear, where journalists are silenced, where cries for autonomy are met with boots and bullets. So when Pakistan speaks for Muslims abroad, but crushes dissent at home, what is that? Faith or fear? Because here's the pattern. If the oppressor is poor, weak, or Western, Pakistan speaks. If the oppressor is rich, powerful, or strategic, Pakistan stays silent. It's not just hypocrisy, it's diplomacy, weaponized, sanitized, and monetized. The Fall of a Nation, Part 1. GDP per capita. Let's start with a simple question. How much does the average Pakistani earn in a year? That's what GDP per capita tells us. It's the total value of everything the country produces, divided by the number of people. According to data from the World Bank and macro trends, in 2020, that number was just $1,278, one of the lowest in South Asia. In 2021, it rose to $1,455, then peaked at $1,538 in 2022. But in 2023, it dropped hard, down to $1,355. A slight recovery followed. 1,459 period it dropped in 2024, and an estimated 1,580 for mullahs 2025 mullahs. But here's the truth. That's not growth. That's survival. The global average is over $13,000. Pakistan isn't catching up. It's falling behind.
The Fall of a Nation,
Part 2, Budget Priorities. Let's follow the money, because a nation's budget is a mirror of its values. The green bars show education spending. In 2020, education made up just 10.8% of Pakistan's total budget. By 2025, it drops to 7.6%. That's a 30% cut in national priority for schools, teachers, and the future. Now look at the red bars. Defense. 20% of the budget in 2020. Still 18.3% in 2025. Unshaken, untouched, untouchable. The blue bars. That's health. 7.7% in 2020, down to 6.6% in 2025. In a country of 240 million, that's barely enough for bandages. And the yellow bars, infrastructure, from 6.3% in 2020 to 7.0% in 2025. A slow climb, but still behind defense by a wide margin. So what does this chart tell us? That Pakistan is building missiles faster than it's building schools? That it funds war more than it funds life? 10 people, one nation. Who can read? Let's break down literacy in Pakistan, not with charts, but with people. Out of every 10 men, 7 can read and write. That's 73% male literacy in 2025. But for women, only 5 out of 10 are literate. Just 52.8%. Nearly half the women in Pakistan can't read a sentence. The national average? 61%, which means 4 out of every 10 Pakistanis are locked out of knowledge. This isn't just a gap in education. It's a gap in power, in opportunity, in freedom. Because when half the nation can't read, the whole nation falls behind. Nation versus Army, LTD. In most countries, the army defends the nation. In Pakistan, the army owns the nation. It's not just a military, it's a business empire. It owns banks, it owns supermarkets, it owns biscuit factories, yes, biscuits. It runs housing societies, gas stations, and even universities. All tax-free, all untouchable. And while schools crumble, military pensions rise. While hospitals run out of beds, the generals get new golf courses. In elections, the army doesn't just vote, it decides who wins. And if the winner steps out of line, they're out. This isn't democracy, it's a defense budget dictatorship, wrapped in a flag. Operation Sindoor, and the IMF drama, May 2025. A terror attack in Pahalgam kills 26 civilians. India responds, fast. Operation Sindoor. Missile strikes, drone warfare. 9 targets hit across Pakistan and Azad Kashmir. Precision, no warning, no apology. Pakistan retaliates, mortars, drones. Civilian casualties on both sides. 4 days of fire, then a ceasefire. But the damage was done. Markets crashed, investors fled, and Pakistan was broke. Enter the IMF. $1 billion approved. Despite India's objections, despite the timing, critics say US lobbyists pushed it through. Some even claim the money circled back to a private security firm in Virginia. And one rumor, louder than the rest, suggests a portion of that bailout ended up with a company linked to Trump's family business. Is there proof? No, just whispers. But in geopolitics, what's whispered in back rooms often decides what's signed in boardrooms.
So here we are.
A country with nuclear weapons, but no stable currency, used by America, funded by China, praised by the Gulf, but never trusted by any of them. The question isn't who used Pakistan, but whether it will keep selling its story, or finally, write one of its own. What do you think? Victim or willing player? Drop a comment, smash that like, subscribe to Can, because truth should be louder than politics. And remember, the essence of all religions is one, only their approaches are different. Maybe